Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing an Armada build, and we're going to be focusing on the Rebels, and we're going to make this a really fun build, and it's also going to use a lot of the new stuff from Rebellion in the Rim, and we're going to try to make some synergy and try to come up with a list that's going to do something a little different than the Rebels are used to doing, and hopefully have a good time, because even if it doesn't win, it should be really fun to play, and I think that's an important aspect of the game. Also, we also have a winner to announce at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned and watch all the way to the end. And also, there'll be some more giveaways announced very, very soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's pop open this little fleet builder and let's get started. So I'm using Ryan Kingston's fleet builder, by the way. A lot of people will ask me, what are you using? What are you using? And I'm like, yeah, I link it in all of the videos. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with a Sato list. And I guess I'll start off with the flagship of what I'm going to do for the Sato fleet. Because, hey, Sato's cool. I like Sato a lot. I'm going to put Sato on a CR90. CR90A. It's got red dice. It's good for Sato. It's definitely good for Sato. So one of the things I want to do with the CR90A is I want to use its support team, and I'm going to put auxiliary shields team on here. Since Sato is my commander, and I need to protect him a little bit, I think auxiliary shields team will work well here, and it's probably worth the investment for CR90 here. I think it is. So we're going to do that. And of course, this might mean the first 2 turns I have to run engineering to fill up those shields, but I don't mind. I don't mind having to do that. It's not a problem. So what else are we going to do? That is a good question. I am going to put the Liberator title on here as well. Again, new stuff. So 2 new cards already. And I'm going to run Intensify Firepower on this particular card. There's going to be a lot of shooting. We may not always have Squadrons in range. We may not always be able to do Sato's ability, and if that looks like that's going to be the case, we can pop Intensify Firepower, or if we get in one of those times where we just absolutely, positively have to make some kills, we know when to pop it. We're only going to be able to pop Intensify Firepower 1 time. So what else are we going to run on this particular build? So I want to do something fun here, and I kind of think of this as a Rebel Interdictor build because it's doing things that Interdictors tend to do, and, well, Ezra is certainly one way that he can kind of do that, and that he can move obstacles. And the cool thing about Ezra being able to do that is he's much cheaper than an Interdictor at only 3 points, but also he can do it at any point in the game. He can do it later on, so it doesn't have to be at the beginning of the game. This is something I think it's fun, and I think it gives so much flexibility in that he can move the station closer to you. He can move obstacles in front of enemy ships, and when you know that they're going to have to land on them, which is very, very cool. He can also, maybe if you're at a standstill where you know that another ship is going to bump and it's not going to go anywhere, move it perhaps underneath a ship. I don't think anything is stopping you from moving something underneath another ship. We'll wait to see if that ends up in an FAQ, but yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't, because then, of course, after a bump, they'll move again. But another cool thing that you can do with Ezra is, and that's going to help Sato, is if your squadrons are tied up, if they're engaged and they're not able to move to get close to other enemy ships, which is sometimes the case, Ezra can potentially move like an asteroid or something like that, overlapping the squadrons, and thus now breaking the engagement. And of course, then, because if it's an obstructed shot, then that's going to they're not going to be tied up, so they won't be engaged. And now they can fly away. So a lot of cool little tricks and things that you can do with Ezra. A lot of flexibility, whether it's getting something out of your own way, or maybe moving something back, pulling a station away, depending on I've got to get this station. Well, let me pull it closer to me. Contested outposts, things like that. You can do so much with a lot of those objectives as well. Things that normally Imperial players will try to manipulate with Interdictors. So Ezra is just going to be a lot of fun. So I'm digging that Ezra. Since we've got Sato, I want to put another CR90 in here. A lot of times I run Jaina's Light. I always run Jaina's Light. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to do something funny. I'm going to do something a little funny. I'm going to put Enhanced Armament. on a CR90. Now, not always the best upgrade for a CR90, but it makes sense with Sato. This way, if you're angled just right, you can get 2 red dice at long range in the front, and then 2 red dice at long range on the side. Or if you have an obstructed shot on the side, then you can still get your 2 dice and turn them into black dice with Sato, and really have some fun there. And that's cool. And that's another thing that's intensified firepower is going to be good against, because you have that great chance of getting the double damage. But if you happen to have a blank with it, it really sours the celebration. So having the flexibility to turn 1 on every attack makes enhanced armament worth it, in my opinion, because you're really incentivized to try and get that front and side double arc. But in this particular case, this is kind of cool. We're going to put Dodonna's Pride on the CR90A. Now, normally you never put a Dodonna's Pride on a CR90A. You always run Dodonna's Pride on a CR90B because it's got all the blue dice. But in this case, we can roll 2 blue dice at long range. 2 blue dice at long range. And if we get that crit, now all of a sudden we can just start doing face-up damage right away. Maybe get that crit that is going to lower shields and just make everything. It's just, it can be, if you can make sure that this is your first ship shooting, it's just going to be very, very sweet, and hopefully you get it to work. And there's some other things that I'm going to put into this build that are going to make Dodonna's Pride even more likely to trigger. So hopefully you will like it. Actually, you know what? Let me jump into. Let's do Squadrons now. I'm going to do Squadrons at this point, and then we'll come back out and fill out the ships. Because you know what? I'm freaky like that. We'll change up the order a little bit. Usually, I always do ships first and Squadrons last. So let's jump into the first new squadron. And this is going to be Malihura. I have no idea what she's from. She's probably going to be in this new book that just came out today that I have not read yet, but I'm going to be reading soon. But Mali is an Eskurg, which is a cool ship. It does need to be activated, though, so we'll have to make sure we're doing at least a little bit of squadron commands. But yeah, once per activation, while a friendly ship is attacking a ship at distance 1 of you, again, you already want to be there because of Sato, so she synergizes perfectly with Sato, and you are engaged by 1 or fewer squadrons, the attacker may spend 1 die to change a die to a face with a crit icon. So basically, you can guarantee the crit. You can, if you got 2 dice, you can just guarantee it. So Mali is going to basically guarantee that Dodonna's Pride works as long as you're not overwhelmed. As long as you're not engaged by multiple squadrons. Again, that's where Ezra comes in. If Mali does, if you really want to set that up, Ezra can maybe trigger and be like, all right, boom, we're going to go ahead and drop all this, we're going to drop this asteroid on you to make sure it triggers, if we have to. You might want to move Ezra to a different ship also. It's possible. Ezra could probably go on, we'll do that right now. I'm going to swap Ezra. We'll put Ezra on that other CR90. This way we don't have to have our flagship like right in the middle, because Ezra, you do have to be kind of close. It has to be just, so to move an obstacle at distance 1 to 2. So you don't want to be too close with your flagship, although the Dodonna's Pride ship, you can make an argument to get it just a little bit closer, because, hey, if it gets a little bit closer naturally, then it also gets to roll those extra blue dice, more chances of triggering Dodonna's Pride, etc., etc. So, okay, we'll put Ezra on that one instead. It makes a little more sense. See, we're making on-the-fly changes here. Yes. Now, so Mali is cool. Let's do some more. I am going to put another new squadron in there. We'll put Martin, a.k.a. Matt Martin, Missing Worlds. Shout out to Matt Martin, who's awesome. But Iron Squadron, basically. And this is flying the Sato's Hammer. Awesome new squadron with Rebellion in the Rim. 22 points. A little expensive. Grit and Rogue, so he will not need to be activated. At the start of the squadron phase, you can toggle your activation slider and drop a proximity mine. So the proximity mines are cool. It's going to, for one, it's going to cause an attack. So since I'm running small ships in this list, it's going to be great to just drop proximity mines in the way of my opponent's ships. This way, I'm going to say, hey, you can either shoot my flagship or you can try to shoot that proximity mine. And that's a great thing. That's a very, very great thing. And also, it may just steer people away, so it also helps. It can help with objectives, too, because if you want to fly him to a certain point, drop mines over there and then fly away. If they want to try and go after a certain objective or approach from a certain direction, they're going to have obstacles to deal with. So I think he's going to be a very fun character to play. I think he'll be a very, very fun squadron to fly around. Now, we got some more squadrons. We're going to go a little squadron heavy, not too squadron heavy. I am going to put, I'll put a staple. I'm going to put Jan Ors in there. She is great for everything. And of course, if somebody like Mali, who it does get tied up, and I'm not able to do, my fancy shenanigans with Ezra, Jan is going to be there. So Jan's going to be the primary way of making sure that your squadrons can get where they need to go. I know a lot of times with Sato, I like to run Tycho. I'm not going to run Tycho this time. I'm going to run a generic A-Wing because I have some other stuff and it just didn't all work with the points. So I'm going to put an A-Wing. A-Wings are great for just getting where they need to be. I like to park them on obstacles so you have obstructed shots. And we're going to run two. Oh, this is going to be the fun part. We're going to run two VCXs. First off, the VCXs are hard to kill. So they're great in a Sato build anyway. They're speed 3, so they're decent. They're movable. They're able to get around. Hard to kill is freaking awesome because... Wow, that sounded weird. Anyway, it's freaking awesome because you need them to stay alive for as long as possible. And A-Wings, while they are great, 2 lucky shots and maybe they're dead. So 2 VCXs is going to be really, really cool. You're going to have a hard time keeping them alive. Plus, if you want your squadrons really far out in front of other stuff, the VCXs can potentially help with relay and all of that fancy stuff. So I am digging the VCXs for that purpose as well. But the really cool thing here is strategic also. Again, this is kind of going into that, like what I tend to do with Imperial Interdictor builds is also include some lambdas and just be all about the objectives. Be all about, oh, is it fire lanes? Well, let me just pull those tokens a little bit further back, doing all these fancy shenanigans with objective tokens. People don't, at least in my local meta, people really don't bring a whole lot of strategic anymore. And it's strong. It's very, very strong for objective play. So it's going to let you have a lot of fun, and it'll give you a totally different, if you end up having to pick from your opponent's objectives, it's going to give you a whole different perspective on, oh, you chose minefield? No problem. I'll throw your mines back in your face. There's so many really fun things you can do with it. So that's why I like the VCXs. That's why I'm putting 2 of them in there. They are a little on the expensive side, but they're going to have the survivability to also keep Sato's ability going. So those are my squadrons. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 squadrons should do it. We've got 3 names, and we've got Jan Ors to share her brace for that A-Wing and for the 2 VCXs. So really a lot of tanky squadron presence here, which hopefully will work. And of course, if we need to heal them, we can maybe use Ezra to pull a station closer, so that they can land on the station and keep healing up. So that's a fun thing. There's so many cool little bits that we can do here. All right, so now I'm going to go back up and finish populating this list with ships. First, we're going to put a GR-75 transport. We're going to put a combat retrofit in this case. We don't often run combat retrofits. They are a little more expensive and it's not always worth it, but in this case we can do the concentrate fire command. We can get 2 black dice from a GR-75 because of Sato, and that, my friends, is not half bad for 24 points. 2 black dice. Think of if a bomber could roll 2 black dice on you, and maybe a third one out the rear. If a bomber could do that, that would be insane. So you'd have, I'm digging that. And plus, combine that with Malihura, you have the capability of you guaranteeing at least 2 damage, because if you happen to whiff with both of them, you spend 1, turn the other to the crit, and then to the double side. So, it's great. That's great. I love it. And we don't want it to die, so we'll give it Bright Hope. We can afford that. And we're also going to put Sabine on there. So Sabine is, now the reason I put Sabine on here as opposed to like Ezra or somebody like that, well, she's a little bit more expensive. And I think the GR-75 is a little bit less likely to get killed because, for 1, it's got Scatter, and for 2, it's got Bright Hope. So it's a pretty survivable little ship. A lot of people won't even waste their time since you can be tabled without killing the flotilla. So a lot of times at this point, I'm noticing more and more people just saying, you know what, if it doesn't have Bomber Command Center on it, I'm probably not really super worried about killing this flotilla. This one, so it's less points that my opponent will be able to get off of me if they just decide to ignore the flotilla. And I think so that makes sense, because Sabine, it doesn't matter where you put Sabine. So I'm going to put her on there, so I think figure like that there's 4 points that are maybe safe from my opponent. The last thing, we're going to run 5 ships. I'm going to run, my ship number 4 is going to be a Hammerhead. Hammerheads are one of my favorite ships to run with Sato because the 2 dice in the front, and you can give them gunnery teams. So they have a pretty good size front arc, so I can make sure that I get that 2 dice shot. I can do that 2 times. I do expect my Hammerheads to be moving slow, so I will put quad battery turrets on there. And of course, if you want to move slow too, that's fine with me. I would be happy not to have the die, because the fear here is that somebody's going to speed up into you, and then once they get into close range, then they've got all the extra dice, and then they're going to start taking out, 1 or 2 small ships a turn. So I would rather you go a little bit slower. And if you do go fast, I'm going to punish you for it, because I'm going to have a Hammerhead Scout Corvette that's going to have 2 red dice, well, presumably 2 black dice, a blue die, and let's say an extra blue die, because I'm going to put disposable capacitors on there just to really punish somebody who wants to come in fast. Okay, because we have gunnery teams also, so when we pop disposable capacitors, we're going to get 2 shots. We're going to maximize our flexibility out of that front arc, because we can even throw maximum dice at long range as well. So I really like this combination so much, in fact, that I will double it. And there we go. So we just duplicated that. So we got 2 Hammerheads with gunnery team, disposable capacitor, and quad battery turrets. That working with Sato is going to give us 2 blue and 2 black. If they have concentrate fire, we're looking at 3 black and 2 blue. And if we have Malihura, I can spend one of those blue to turn a black to a double. And if I have popped Intensify Firepower, I can turn another. If I roll 2 blank black dice in that case, then I can even then at that point turn one to at least a hit. So we've got a lot of damage potential out of these 2 Hammerheads. So these are going to be kind of in the center, and this puts us exactly at 400 points, as you can see. So now it goes down to the objectives. I'm probably going to be second player with a list like this. Probably will be. There's no bid here. So I'm gonna start at the top. For red, there's a couple of new ones, and they may all be very interesting, but in this case, I find it hard not to go with opening salvo. I just want even more black dice, and the fact that even my flotilla can shoot means I just love the idea of being able to get 4 black dice out of a GR75. That's just really cool. And if I wanted to be really bold, I could move one of those disposable capacitors over to the GR75 and allow it to pop a concentrate fire and roll 4 black dice at long range. It would be really, really cool. However, I think in this case, my GR75 is probably going to be running squadron commands at least early on. So I'm okay with opening salvo is just going to be great in this case. So I think it's going to scare a lot of people. A lot of people nowadays are running, smaller builds, SSDs or ISD plus, ISD. Or 2 ISDs, whatever, and just opening salvo doesn't give them as much. So this one, is likely going to give me a lot. The risk is that I do go up against like a 7-ship build with this, and I'm willing to take that risk because I've got Sato, and my ships have evade. So even if you get red dice on me, my only worry is for the double, and I can cancel that. For yellow, we're going to go with Fire Lanes. It's kind of a classic. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's so strong people usually never pick it. And the fact that I have 2 VCXs ensures that somebody's not going to be crazy enough to choose Fire Lanes. It's almost not going to happen. The weakness there, though, the risk is that those Hammerheads, if they go past those tokens, that they won't be able to have any dice in their rear arcs. So. But we can easily make sure that just doesn't happen. I can use the VCXs and keep the tokens, away from the opponent, closer to me. We can make it work. And of course, even if they do start coming for them, that's amazing, because now I know exactly where you're going to be flying at, so I can position my Hammerheads at the start of the game, fan out. You can only come from this direction, and I'm gonna get you. Or you're just gonna fly away, and then there won't be enough time left by the time you do get to me to get some points in. So and by then I'll have like 200 points from Fire Lanes. So yeah. For our blue, we're going to try one of the new objectives. Now, I haven't had a whole lot of experience playing these new objectives yet. So let's take a look at Volatile Deposits. You're going to place obstacles as normal adding the 2 dust fields and excluding the station. So what I like about this one is there's +1 obstacle, which is very cool. So I mean, more obstacles, I feel like that is going to potentially work really well with Ezra, and that's kind of one part of the synergy here. Special rule: when a ship is attacking a ship, the attacker can choose 1 obstacle at distance 1 of the defender, then resolve the following effect. Blue crit: each ship or squadron at distance 1 of the chosen obstacle suffers damage equal to half the number of critical icons in your attack pool, rounded up. Okay, since I have ways to guarantee that I can get criticals, this one's kind of cool. If the defender is one of the first player's ships, the attacker can resolve this with any crit icon, so even my black dice crits. So if I am fortunate enough to get multiple black dice crits, I can be shooting somebody and being like, oh yeah, by the way, boom, 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 I'm going to give you a whole lot of extra damage. And at the end of each round, for each asteroid field, each player sums up the command values of their ships at distance 1, and then each asteroid field, the player with the highest total gains a victory token. Now this one, I can manipulate this with Ezra as well. I'm going to want to probably push those asteroid fields possibly closer to me. But then again, at a certain point, I may put them in the way of my opponent. I have a lot of flexibility with this one, and this one seems like it would be a fun opportunity to try out one of the new objectives as well. I am reluctant to do a build with all 3 new objectives because if you're playing somebody who doesn't hasn't played them yet too, you're going to be kind of scratching your heads for a while. But having at least 1 per build is a good way to kind of dip your feet in the water and how is this really going to work? What strategies are going to work with this one? And I feel like this is a build that's going to work well with volatile deposits. And yeah, I think that is the build, everybody. Yeah, so I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of this build? So let me know down in the comments section. We have a winner to announce too for the $100 Amazon gift card, and so I want to give a big congratulations to Daniel Smith. Thank you for entering the contest. You just won a $100 Amazon gift card. Go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com. You can find that on the back end of my page, also on crabbok.com under the contact me. I've got ways to contact me there. But yeah, just give me your contact info and we'll get you squared away. And that is it. And, next giveaway is going to be starting very, very soon. So if you didn't win this one, don't worry. There's lots more coming up. Holiday time is upon us, and I'm feeling very festive. So I've got some cool things planned. I think you're going to be really excited. I'm going to be doing a lot of cool giveaways. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I also have some admin stuff I want to talk about too. I've got some new announcements. If you guys have, I had gotten a lot of complaints about, hey, you haven't been done as much Armada stuff lately, or you haven't. I wanted to see battle reports with this stuff and that stuff, and so I've been trying to get more organized because I do a video every day at least. So I do a lot of videos. And it occurred to me that there may be some stuff that I get a lot of repeat questions, and so I've been trying to organize my videos. So if you check out my Discord, if you're not familiar with Discord, it's basically a single username and password gets you into Discord, and everybody's got a Discord. They're all kind of connected, but basically my Discord, it's like a chat room. It's like a message board. It's like a hybrid chat room forum message board kind of thing. Very, very easy to navigate. Safe and secure and very established. Everybody's using Discord nowadays. So I have one. I have set it up a long time ago. A lot of people asked me, hey, you should set up a Discord. So I decided to try it out. I don't really promote it that much because it's just there as a community reference and as a service to you guys. But I've decided to put it to a little bit more use. I've been organizing my Discord. It's a little bit better organized now, as well as patrons get a special Discord role and a special Discord channel. So there's some benefits for patrons in Discord. But there's also I set up some new channels for organizing a lot of my archived videos. So you can, if you're looking for battle reports for Legion, for example, you can find all of them in there. X-Wing, all of them in there. Now I've weeded out. I don't have the 1.0 stuff, the original X-Wing battle reports. I'm trying to keep it with the relevant games, so it's only this stuff that's from 2nd edition and beyond. But also new player guides, how to play, what to buy first, how do I get started, a lot of that tutorial and help and community resource stuff. I have channels for those in there so you can kind of scroll through. So if you're maybe a new player, there's a lot of that going on as well. So make sure you check out my Discord and just hop in there. There's also links to other Discords for other games. There's a lot of games that have dedicated Discords. So you can also check those out. I have links to a lot of those in my Discord. Again, just as a community service, I don't like make money off of Discord or anything like that. It's just something that that I put together for you guys to hang out and talk about games and ask questions. You can talk with me a little bit. You can talk with each other. And or if you want to do other gaming too, and you're looking for people who are Star Wars fans or whatever, there's voice channels. So if you're gonna play some Overwatch or something like that, or Fortnite or whatever, and you want to get in voice chat with somebody else that also is maybe a tabletop gamer or something like that, you can meet friends in there, and you can use it for all sorts of things like that. So it's something that's out there for everybody, and hopefully you enjoy it. All right, guys. Well, that was a mouthful. I'm going to let you guys go now. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons. You guys definitely help make this possible. If you are interested in helping support the channel, Patreon is one excellent way to do that. So there are links to that in the description below, as well as Discord and Twitter and Facebook, and you can follow me on all of those social media. I do a lot of different types of content for different social media, so there are, you'll see stuff on Facebook that you might not see anywhere else. You see stuff on Twitter that you might not see anywhere else, and so if you're interested in following me on those as well, they're down there for you, and hopefully you guys are doing well, and hopefully you're going to have a great week. I am looking forward to all the cool new stuff that we have coming out, and that's about it. So again, big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing, and thank you for your continued support. And as always, have a great day.